Hello, class, receiving teachers and students. Thank you. You may be seated. Let's recap some of our activities that we did yesterday. Let's recap some of our activities that we looked at. Now to do that, we have a question there for you to give me some of the activities that use the sun's heat. So let's have one or two answers. Polisila, thank you. Our first stand up. Name some of the activities that use the sun's heat. Activities that we do every day that we use heat from the sun. What is one that you do?
Solar system.
Solar system. Could you explain a bit more about solar system, what you mean?
By using it when it's cold weather, I can use solar to bath.
Using solar to produce hot water, electricity, and to produce hot water. Okay, those who live in towns and have a solar hot water system. Thank you, Polisila. Samuel will give us the second one.
Hanging your clothes on the line.
Very easy one, and I hope the receiving students have answered that too. Drying your clothes in the sun. Thank you. Thank you for those answers, students. I think you have a lot of answers, but we will move on. Teachers, we are still on the same strand. Energy in the home, substrand using energy in the home. Same outcome, 7.3.3. Our lesson topic for today is how does heat travel? All right, we're looking at three activities which will be identifying how heat travel. Before we go through that, number one, our safety rules. We need to go through our safety rules because we'll be using heat. Our safety rule number one is clear all tabletops. Safety rule number two. When you are given candles, stand and give. When you're placing candles, do not use flammable objects such as papers, plastics, or rubber surface items. May I have your attention? Our instruction number two is place candles on non-flammable objects. So here I have some non-flammable objects such as metal lids or tin lids that I have. So you will use that. Do not use a rubber, plastic, or cardboard paper. If you have a solid, very strong, solid piece of plank or timber, you can use that. So I'll give this to Win to give one each to a group. We will do that. Let's look at our next safety rule. You should have a damp cloth beside you or wet cloth beside you. Thirdly, fourth, when you're doing the activity, you should follow the instructions carefully. All right. We shall begin our activity. So activity instruction number 1. Okay, that is our activity. Light your candle. You hold the tip of the tip of the iron rod. Hold the tip of the iron rod at one end. So you hold the tip at one end. Observing. All eyes to the front. Do I have all your eyes and your ears? No. All right, thank you. You hold the iron rod at one end like this. And the other end that is free, you place where the flame is, into the flame. Till you feel something at the end of the rod or the tip of your finger, end of the rod, then you stop. And you answer your questions which will be given to you. All right, that is your first activity. Do we have all candles alight? Can you finish? Okay, when you do that, these are your questions. I'll answer the first question for the activity. If you feel something at the tip of or at the end of the rod, then your experiment is complete. Also feel at the end of the rod, not close, the tip end, the far end of the rod. Not the one. All right. Our second activity, for those who have completed. Okay, most groups are finished by now. Our second activity, the instructions are there. Read carefully the instructions and follow the instruction. Do not put the leaf into the flame. Concentrate. Your questions, if you have seen some kind of change. You have two questions. Looking at your leaf, you should be answering the two questions by now. When you finish, we shall move to our activity number 3. The two questions should be answered. All right, before you blow off the candles, before you put the candles off, before you put off the candles, just one person about 10 centimeters or 15 centimeters above the candle flame. What do you feel? Is your hand directly inside the flame? No. But still you can feel the heat. All right. Put it aside. Let's have a look at experiment number 3. Right, resident students, in this experiment and class, we're going to use the coil. This is called a convection chamber. In this convection chamber, by lighting the coil, mosquito coil, and the smoke from the mosquito coil will tell us the flow of heat in air and also in water, how heat travels in liquid or in air. So by observing closely how this smoke flows in the chamber here, it will help you give an idea of how heat travels in air and in water. All right, our instruction number 1, let's see what do we have to do. All right, place the candle. Firstly, we have to remove the screen from the chamber. We place our candle in. We tie a piece of wire which has already been tied to a coil. Our instruction number 3, and we will light the candle. Hope it doesn't go up. Now we insert the smoking coil, but before we do that, we light the coil. Let it burn. If you cannot breathe because of the smell of the coil, you may excuse yourself. Can you hold this coil? Right, we'll shield the chamber. The candle in there heats up what? What is in air? In there? In the chamber? Light. Candle in there heats up the air in the chamber. So we label this A, and this, thank you, B. The candle burning in there produces heat and heats up the chamber. So let's see, thank you. Let's see, we will insert chimney B. Can you see the smoke going through the... Can you see the smoke going through chamber B? Okay, observe closely. It goes through the chamber B, goes down. Does it settle down in the box? Where does it go out? Out? Chimney A. So if you look closely, you can see smoke coming from chimney A. Right, let's have someone to just feel at the top. Place place your hands over the top of chimney A. What do you feel? And tell the class. What do you feel? What did you feel when you placed your hand over chimney A?
Heat. Heat.
So can someone tell me how does heat travel? Chimney B. How does heat travel in the chamber? How does heat travel in the chamber here? Which direction? Can you show me? We are thinking. Okay, I'll leave you to do your 2 questions. Let's put this one out. And your questions are there. Question 1, you can explain the movement of smoke in the chamber in written form or writing them down, or you can explain it with a diagram by drawing it. So you may do that. All right, let's go through to our questions. Question number 1 for activity number 1. Activity number 1 is light the candle and place one end of the rod into the flame. Our questions are, describe what you feel at point B or at one end of the rod, and why you felt this end of the rod when you touched it after 3 to 4 minutes. Let's see who has the answers. Colin? Colin is still thinking. Isaac? Good, Isaac will give us question number 1 of first activity's answer, which is describe what you felt at the end of the rod and why you felt that.
I can feel the heat.
You felt heat. Why did you feel heat?
Because to find out how it travels.
Yes, and you did find out. So how did it travel? Thank you. So how did it travel? Isaac, what do you think, receiving students?
From point B to point A.
Very good, from point B to point A. Okay, yes, we'll have Evelyn to help with Isaac's answer. Yes, Isaac has made some very important points, that he travels from one point to another point. But how?
Because we start eating the road at point A, so that it travel down to the point B and we feel the heat.
Okay. So when you hit at one point, one end of the iron rod, the heat traveled. Can you remember your lesson on particles? Particles of solids are packed together. So and vibrate. Very good, Michaelin. So when you hit one point, the particles what? They vibrate. We cannot see, but that is the theory of particles. It vibrates and heat travels through this vibration until you feel at the end of the rod. Very good. Thank you, Evelyn and Isaac, for your answers. Second activity, question 2. Question 1 and 2. Second activity is heat by radiation. Our question is, what happened to the leaf? And explain how this happened. Michaelin, thank you. Thank you, Michaelin. Michaelin will give us the group finding.
The leaf turned dark green and was more weaker and softer.
So how did this happen?
The heat penetrated the leaf structure, causing it to be weak. Like if you break a house structure, you don't stand anymore.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Michaelin, for that well-explained answer. So, the leaf, in some way, you did not put it into the fire, but still the leaf changed its color because, right, the heat from the candle flame, yes, Begley will explain, help Michaelin to explain. The heat from the candle. Thank you, Begley.
The leaf changes color because of the chemical change.
All right. Thank you. Well said answer. Because the heat was absorbed by the leaf, some kind of chemical reaction took place in the leaf's pigments. So it changed color. Now how did it travel? Or how did that heat go to the leaf and cause the leaf to change? Remember your particle theory about air? Any answers? Manuel, thank you.
when the heat of the flame reflect through the leaf turn in a different color because the flame of the heat reflect the leaf.
Okay? The heat, okay, from the flame of the candle, light was reflected, yes, but the heat was absorbed by the leaf. So, how did heat travel to the leaf? Okay, yes. Emmanuel will explain the second question again.
It travel in the air.
Right, very good. Good answer. Heat traveled through the air. Even at a distance away from the candle, the leaf still received heat. So heat traveled through the air particles. Our last activity. And the question, describe the movement of the smoke. Why does it flow through air? Why does it float that way? Colin, thank you.
Because the hot air from the candle's flame raises up the smoke in chimney B.
Yes? Colin, thank you. Any others? All right. I'll have the diagram here. If you feel you want to explain with the diagram, come to the front. Okay, chimney B, chimney A. Anyone would like to show us the direction of heat traveling in the diagram of the convection chamber? How did the smoke from the coil flow? Come. All right, Begley. Arrows, draw arrows. Draw. Here. Okay. What goes in? All right. That's what he has drawn. So, what goes in here? Air. Of course, air. Oxygen, yes. What comes out here? Okay. All right. Heat is produced in here. Heat is produced in the chamber. goes down here. Smoke tells us which way. Smoke is an indicator. It shows us which way heat travels. So what kind of air goes in here? This air in here, in the chamber, is warm, cold, or hot? Hot. So what kind of air do you think goes in here? Right, cold air goes in here. Cold air goes in here. And comes out here. Hot. All right. Any questions? All right, if you have not completed the 2 questions, you may complete the 2 questions. And if you need to draw the diagram, make sure you draw the diagram neatly in your book. Receiving students and teachers, your teacher may help you to draw your diagram, or you can draw that after this lesson. We have only 2 summary points that you look at, our 2 summary points. Take note of our 2 summary points, which are the 3 ways in which heat can travel from one point to another. Heat travels by conduction, convection, and radiation. Second summary point, heat moves from hot places to cold places. Our key phrase for today, class, is very good. Heat travels. And our next lesson will be types of energy used to make sounds. Teachers, you will need to prepare the materials for your next lesson, and there, if you have an old shoe box or any similar box, small boxes, 4 rubber bands, a pencil, or a cut stick, sticks cut to the size of the pencil and the thickness of the pencil. So you should need that for your next lesson's activity. With that, thank you receiving teachers and students, and thank you class.